Hey guys, restoring and seasoning old pans. These are a few pans that I needed to do. It was a project that I needed to do from a long time ago, and I'm finally getting to it. These are tiny little pans that I had. I don't even remember where I got these. I think my mother may have given me these, or I got them at the thrift store. I'm not really sure, but they're in pretty rough condition. There's not a lot of rust on some of them, but boy are they tacky and sticky and completely discolored. And to start to season those right away would be a nightmare, so I thought I would bring them down to scratch like I normally do. This pan here is really, really bad. I don't know who did what to this pan in the past, but it was almost like it was peeling off, like it was paint that was peeling off. It's like it never really actually stuck. So that one was a really bad one. Now, there was no real rust underneath it. You could see the bare metal. So I thought, well, okay, I'm just going to bake that off. I'm not even gonna try to re-season on top of that metal after I scraped it down. The best thing that I know to do is just start from scratch when the pans are in this pretty bad condition. These are not Griswold or Wagner, although I wish, but nevertheless they're cast iron and they'll last. This is the pan that I was really curious about. It says N/4 patent 10015. If anybody out there knows what this stands for or what this means, please give me a shout because I'm very curious about this one. I've tried to look up what it is, but I can't find anything on it. This pan here is a little bit unique. It does have a wooden handle. It's really going to be a tough one. I knew this one was going to be the toughest one of all because it really hasn't been seasoned on the outside, but looks like it's been used. So all I had to do with that one I knew was to take the handle off, of course, before I started to work on it. I put them upside down in my oven. I have an option for self-cleaning for 2 hours and 3 hours. I always go with the 3 hours, and that's it. I just let the oven take over and do the job. After the 3 hours, I just let it cool completely. There's many ways that you can do this and strip it down or get it to the bare metal or as close to it as you can. There's electrolysis, there's apple cider vinegar, there's regular vinegar, there's oven cleaner, and then you just spray that on and keep it in a bag. But what I found with all of these methods over the years is it's extremely time consuming, and time is something that most people don't have. So I found personally that this method works the best, and you'll see that it actually just crumbles out of there. It just falls out of there. So the next step is steel wool. I always get these big boxes of or big packages, excuse me, of steel wool. They have the coarse, the medium, and the fine. I start out with the medium. I give them all a really good scrub as much as I can, and then I go ahead and do it with the fine. And I just continue to do that until I'm satisfied to the point where I can get it. After that, I just run it under very hot water. I don't use soap, and I give it a really good rinse. Then I go ahead and I wipe it out with a cloth, and then I put it on the stove to dry on a medium on the stove top. I want to make sure that all of the water is evaporated from these pans. Now they're ready to be seasoned. In the past, I won't say how long ago, it was long ago, I used to use bacon grease or Crisco. I've even used peanut oil, and I've used flaxseed oil. You can also use coconut oil. The most important thing to think about when you're seasoning your pans is to get an oil that has a very high smoke point. And I found that peanut oil and flaxseed oil do the best at least when I'm redoing these kinds of pots and pans. I would rather go with the flaxseed oil or the peanut oil before the bacon grease and the Crisco, but that's just a personal preference. Another key thing that you need to keep in mind when you're doing these seasonings is a little goes a long way. You don't need to cake on the oil. Doesn't matter what you're using. The more you cake it on and the thicker it is, the more problems you're going to have. It's going to drip before it even bakes in. It's going to have these drip marks. It's going to get sticky, tacky. You're going to have an uneven layer. So although we want to hurry up this process and we want it to get done really quick because of time, of course, the best thing you can do is slow it down and put an extremely thin coat of oil on every single time. Although you may not think it looks like it's on there, it's on there. And another tip is to buff it in. Just kind of putting it on willy-nilly and thinking it's on there, I find that, again, that can drip. So I tend to buff the oil in quite a bit before I put it back into the oven. Now, when I put it back into the oven, it's going to be on 400 for 1 hour. And I always place the pans upside down. If there's any excess oil that you see on the inside of that pan before you put it in, get a paper towel or a cloth and take that out, because it will leave drip marks. Another thing is I use cloths. Paper towel tend to leave a lot of residue behind it, and I've tried many different kinds of paper towel, but I'm not very successful with that. I find a lint-free cloth works best. I repeated the process of oiling it, baking it for 1 hour, and letting it cool 6 times. The minimum of 6 times. That's what I always do, 6 times. This is a very long procedure. The key to all of this is patience and time. If you have the patience and time, this will come out every time that you do it. The pans turned out really well. The only one that needs a lot more work actually is the pot. The pot really needs some work. It's going to take an awful lot more to get the outside of this to look the way it's supposed to look and be seasoned properly. Because 2 of these pans are going straight to my son because he's a big fisherman and camper, I decided to try out and make sure that these are okay to give to him right away so he can start cooking on them. So I did go ahead and make some eggs. This is the 3rd egg that I did. I put a half a teaspoon of vegetable oil on the bottom and simply just put the egg in there, and this is what it should do if they're properly seasoned. Just a nice flip. Till next time, hey do.